It's still, we've just been hanging around the last few days. We have been getting these kind of end-of-day dumps in the market, and it has been putting a little bit of sell pressure on stocks. So, yesterday we ended up with a decent size kind of spike off at the open on a lot of names, and then a lot of things just rolled over after that. We were getting a little bit frothy, so we have to be a little bit careful. As we get more extended on a lot of names, the midday, end of day dumps on them get worse and worse. That's just the way it goes. So you'll have to be a little bit careful, as you kind of run into so many stocks that are right up so much off their lows. I mean, these things are all up, at this point 50, 60, 70% off their lows. You're going to end up with a lot more shakeouts till we get a little bit more of a kind of meaningful pullback on these. When you see some of these things like, okay, this is 100% off its lows, and a lot of times we think like, oh, it's still like a lot cheaper than it used to be, but it's 100% off its lows, so you start getting a lot more of these kind of choppy days, and that's where we saw like something like this EH was like, hot in the morning and then it fades off all day. That's a little bit of a byproduct of just, things being up 50, 60, 70, 100% off the lows. A 2 or 3 day pullback would probably be really nice. We had a 1 day pullback essentially, but a little bit of rest is okay. I do expect some choppiness, but I don't think the market's going to roll over. All these kind of stocks are going to just be dead on the wind. We'll have more selective opportunity probably for the next few days, but also there'll be a rotation into other things that need to move around. Let's take a look at the earnings plays, see what's going on here. NDLI, this is probably a pump and dump. I'd probably stay away from that. RH raises full year revenue growth outlook using restrictions to drive in demand, blah 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 blah. Man, this thing has really been a nice run, huh? It's been really the hottest stock around. This stock is a little bit of a pain to trade, but it does have a level here that you can trade around. I'd actually put that on the list. I'd put that on the list for a day trade. This is probably something that the float is low enough on this where you can catch an ORB or even like the first dip on this one. If it holds, it might be something. It is in that very, very strange price range where you end up with a big spread, so I don't think this is like a huge priority. Not because the setup is bad or the high price stocks are bad in general, but this stock is going to have a spread. I would anticipate the spread on it is going to be $2, $3, $4, maybe $5 at times. So that'll be a little bit careful. There's a gap up in all these Chinese EDU names. I saw somewhere online that there was some kind of defense out on these things. I don't know if that really means anything, but in a market where like all the cheap stocks are squeezing, these kind of names, we were trading this go-to yesterday. This is the biggest out of the turds, but these type of names can squeeze for a few days. They are in monster cock downtrends, so it's not really anything you can marry. But like you have like this towel was like $90. Getting down into some sweet spots. These are in the squeeze zones. Like this thing is already ripping over yesterday's highs. Like I think we should be adding, all three of these, TAL, GoTo, and EDU on the list for some day trades, especially if they rip off at the open. Like this GoTo was really, that was probably our big winner of yesterday. It squeezed off hard at the open. I think we give them a whirl. These may be, some just really nice squeeze zones. And you get some support here on TAL. I think we give it a shot for a day or two. This is not anything you'd hold overnight. These stocks are just big, gelatinous, pieces of excrement most likely. But in the meantime, for a day or two, I think that they can hold. Siggy Bear. Signet Jewelers swings to fourth quarter profit issues, quarter two outlook, TVs, VCRs, camcorders, all at Signet Jewelers. This actually, you got to break out on this one potentially. The float on this is fairly low. you're still in like a nice kind of mid cap of market. This could actually, Siggy Bear, if it keeps any liquidity, I wouldn't worry too much about the overall volume pattern on it. But if it can keep any kind of liquidity, I think this one probably got a shot. It is a retail stock, but it trades a little bit better. Its ATR's $4, $4 ATR, $65 stock. I mean, that's enough. That's enough to get a little heat on it. So I'd add Siggy Bear to the list. You got a gap up in Wish. That was a nasty reversal on it yesterday. I'm not really sure, how to read this thing, because like this kind of candle is, it really puts a wrench into what we're trying to when you look at a chart. That's not like your kind of orderly pullback. So I don't know on that one. ERJ, this is I believe a Brazilian company. By the way, Brazilian stocks in general, if you have an IRA or a 401k, something like that, you got a really nice uptrend in a lot of these Brazilian stocks. The Brazilian ETF, probably worth a gander to toss, a couple of Brazilian stocks in your 401ks or something. You get some nice range breaks, and some of these names like Gold, and there's a whole host of these things like ERJ looks interesting. These are nice trenders, but you can't day trade them. ADRs are the worst to day trade. CLF junk. Hey, so the CLF this is a good looking chart, by the way. This type of stock is just, to me, more of a swing trader than a day trader historically. Now yesterday, I don't know what the fuck happened, but it went ham. So you can day trade this. It did 100 million shares of volume, but historically it has not been a good day trader. Its average range on most days is like 50 cents. So you probably get another run on this. Not my particular flavor. Commodity stocks are the worst. But let's take a look and see, maybe worth a gander. Can't fuck that thing. Los Tigres. Okay, so this Los Tigres is a nice trender. This is, I think that's like a daily trader for this point. I wouldn't be surprised this thing kind of inch back into the 30s. Let's take a look at Fubo in a second, Andrew. Let me just kind of flip through these. Hey, so this Riot Mara, this time they have bottomed. You had some big trends on these. Watch and see how they react around, yesterday's highs. If they recapture that area and start to build over it, I think you'll get some day two plays on these. So I would put Riot, Mara, like you got nice range breaks in both of these that are setting up. You had some big time trends on these yesterday. There was no shakeout in these two. You had shakeouts in a lot of the kind of pump and dump type of names that have been flying around, but no shakeouts in these two. So I keep Riot, Mara on your watch list. You got nice kind of bottoming patterns. Anytime you see a bottom pattern that looks like a W, that's your sign. We call those, historically W bottoms or, double bottoms. Both of those look pretty good. NCT Watt, we were playing this one. We were playing this one hot and fast yesterday. This one is also a Bitcoin stock. It got rejected by your 50 SMA yesterday. Man, if this thing takes out yet about 1850, give or take, let's just pretend this little end of day candle didn't come back. This thing is hot. 1850. If it starts to push, you start to see. You don't want to just buy if it just breaks over, but if you start to build an opening range kind of base, 2, 3, 4 candles like right up under that thing, and it pushes through, probably the squeeze is on, and you had 21 million shares. So you can see the volume accumulation, right? 30 million shares, a couple rest days, back to 20 million shares. So you got a little bit of accumulation station going, just a little accumulation party. It's got a good look. I think that's probably top of the list if it could clear. If it could clear that kind of 1850 zone. Anything for love. Kodak, space, junk. Space is a daily trader. This guy needs work. Alright, let's go back and see if there's anything on the downside we're taking a short on. CLH, I think this was a offering, so leave that alone. F-Cell, like bully. Oh, F-Cell Energy post lower revenue. Shocker. Fuel Cell Energy. Oh, this one's on a lot of support too. Laura, what do you mean? Are we done with Root? Can you let me know what that means? What do you mean? Why are you holding it? We're day traders, no? Unless you're Warren Buffett, Phoebe Warren Buffett. Is that what it? We're day traders. And Geo Junk. POB Watt. 6 offering at 46. Jimmy only down 5%. So these guys' earnings came out. Frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that it held up. Surprised this thing actually held up. You know what? It might even... It's not much of a gap. I'd probably see just how it reacts, but I don't think that's going to be a play for us. Ride. This thing's a turd too. I mean, these guys basically came out and said they're going to 0, and then they came out and said they're not. Who knows? Yeah, I'm not really... There'll be some range on the GME. It's just, you can't short it down here because it's sitting on the 9 EMA. You probably have to let it clear under 270. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes red to green. You know, this is a weird market where anything can happen. So I wouldn't read too much into it. You know, this is a read and react. The range will definitely be there, you know, today. I think not my particular flavor. I just don't trade that stock very well, but it's okay. Hey, you know, Laura, by the way, you know, if this level kind of holds from yesterday, it may build. Always remember, though, you don't want to turn day trades into investments, right? We're flippers. We're flippers. We want to be turning those accounts over 10, 15 times in a day. That's how you make the money. So you can hold one stock for a 20% gain, or you keep just flipping that thing over, your account over and over and over, 10, 15, 20 times a day, 2%, 5%, 6%, 2%, 5%, minus 2%. And that's how you start stacking cash. Path, ugh, disgusting. You know what? This one's got its lockup coming too. It's probably, it could bleed out a little bit. I'd leave that alone for a while. Workhorse, chunk. All right, so we got these 4 gappers. Now let's take a look at like some of the stocks that I think are like still bottoming that may have some juice left. So this Pet the Cat, if you let me look at the daily chart over here. This Pet the Cat, like, you know, this thing, it went from 70 down to 15. You got a really nice base that's setting up over here. Some levels that have been kind of into the zone. It kind of flew into this, you know, 25. I think this is probably a chance to go red to green. Now the spread on the stock sucks, but I think this is a potential red to green. And then I would even add potentially the Dolphin, which looks a little bit more clear. Now the Dolphin is an awful intraday trader, meaning like if you look at it was fine. It was fine here, and then I don't know. Look at all this. Somebody, that is like that's a poo-poo platter right there. It's, how do you even read that? You know. But man, that's a hot chart. Hot chart alert. Hot dad alert right here. Woo. into the zone where it can break out. So I think Dolphin, Pet the Cat, both of these are going to be top of the list. We do need some liquidity. You got to make sure you size properly on Pet the Cat. You can see, like, you get these tails, and then it just whips down, and then boom, but you get tails. So if you're, like, trying to buy into the breaks, then you're going to get wicked out. You know, so if you try to, like, chase them up, you get wicked out. But, like, in the end, it ended up popping, like, $6, right? I think this is prime time for a red to green today. A weak open on this, only down about 50 cents. You'll have to size accordingly, though, due to the fact that there's going to be a lack of liquidity and a little bit of a spread. We want to make sure not to get too crazy. Let's add one more. MVIS, I think, is... Oh, I mean, this thing looks like it's ready to party. You got a level here about 23.40. It may take it off at the open. Ideally, we want to let this thing wait a few candles, but it's getting there, my friends. It's getting there. I think add MVIS. We got Pet the Cat. We got the Dolphin. All right, and then we got these gappers. We got Siggy Bear, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Yeah, Siggy Bear is nice. Tal, yeah, I think we roll with those. Yeah, these are all looking good. And guys, be flexible. You know, after things get extended intraday, you know, sometimes they're going to roll over. We don't marry any of these things. Sometimes on the same stock, we may long them, we may short them. You know, we play with the wind. But usually when the suckers want to get involved, we got to come back the other way. Good. That's the list, my friends. That's the list I'm sticking to. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about the Fubo. Hey, as long as Fubo hangs up over this 9 EMA, I think it's probably still got some legs on it, Andrew. I have it on my watch list. I think it's kind of a daily trader at this point. Yeah, Rizzo, I'm on video and screen share till I'm done trading. So, yeah, I'm trading from the guys live. Shredding out. Yeah, you guys are all, you know, more than welcome to come in, join our Discord room. So I'm always, you know, trading in front of everybody. Jason, you traded pre-market? When I met Jason back in the day, man, he was always trading pre-market, getting his ass smoked. But he does like that kind of action. That's something he enjoys. This lift, I'm not sure on this lift. Andrew, I would, I'd roll with the Fubo still. This UPST's got a, guys, this one's got a big lockup coming, so it may just bleed out for a few days. Coin could start, it could pick up soon. I think probably this is another bottoming pattern too. Let me check ESC8. This is not my cup of tea normally, just because it doesn't have any liquidity on it. I mean, it's an okay chart, but like it's very, very thin. It's just not anything. I personally can't trade it just because I won't be able to get the size I need. But in general, it looks pretty good. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Alright, let's go have some fun today. You know, we traded till the close yesterday, which I don't like to do. We traded the close yesterday, which I don't like to do. Let's make a quick day out of this. Let's make some money. Let's have some shreds. Let's go have some fun. You know the drill. Alright, let's go do this.